What is IRS Form 3520A? When is it required? How is one filed? Did a tax software program tell you that you need to file IRS Form 3520A? Have you heard vague rumors that you might need one? Hi, I'm Anthony Parent of IRS Medic. In this video, we will explain the most likely reason you need to file a Form 3520A, what goes into the form, and what to do if you are late and want to avoid steep penalties. So first, what is Form 3520A? The IRS has myriad international reporting forms. Form 3520A is an annual information return of a foreign trust with a U.S. owner. Now, right there, you might be wondering, I don't have a domestic trust, let alone foreign trust. So how can I possibly have a Form 3520A requirement? The answer is that many foreign pensions and retirement plans are considered by the tax law to be foreign trusts. 90% of the Form 3520A forms that we file are all for foreign pensions. So how can my foreign pension be a trust? The law on Form 3520A could be a lot clearer. In fact, the instructions for Form 3520A fail to even mention the words foreign pension or foreign retirement. Schedule B mentions Form 3520, but completely fails to mention Form 3520A. So if you are unfiled, you're in good company. But this is what we do know. The IRS often takes the position that a foreign pension is something known as a grantor trust or an employee's trust. The IRS's treatment is not entirely consistent, which is why you may encounter different advice. But we're not here to tell you what you can get away with, but rather what could happen if you don't file a Form 3520A when required to do so. So what will happen if you don't file a Form 3520A? Well, you may get away with it. But if you are detected by the IRS, you also could be looking at a $10,000 penalty for each Form 3520A you did not file. Or if you filed or improperly filed, the IRS can examine your entire 1040 indefinitely. That's right, the IRS can audit you back to when you first started this retirement plan if a Form 3520A was required but not filed, even if that was 20 years ago. Now, suppose an American moved to Australia in 1999 with contributions to a superannuation starting the same year. If Form 3520A was required or not filed or improperly filed, that is 20 $10,000 penalties the IRS could assess for a total of $200,000 in penalties alone. In the last 3 years, we have seen the IRS begin to assess aggressive penalties. So aggressive, many taxpayers and tax professionals find themselves shocked and stunned. Yet there is another 3520A penalty the IRS can assess. Yet it is, as of today, it's rare to see. The IRS can actually impose a penalty of 5% of the retirement plan's value. So if you have, say, a Swiss pension valued at $1 million, you could be hit with additional penalties, including a $50,000 penalty for not filing a Form 3520A. And this could be assessed multiple times. But this type of penalty is not as common as it can't be assessed automatically, unlike the $10,000 Form 3520A penalty, which often can be. Question is, will I get hit with a Form 3520A penalty? The IRS can assess a $10,000 Form 3520A penalty with little or no effort. Your chances of being penalized are much larger. So then the question is, when can the IRS assess a Form 3520A penalty easily? The answer is when you file late or outside of a program or when you have an obvious error. Now, we do know that the IRS has a hard time following its own procedures, and Form 3520A penalties are no exception. We routinely need to correct an IRS that fails to mitigate and properly assess penalties of a taxpayer who has gone through a streamlined disclosure program or actually has a correct Form 3520A. So now, when is a Form 3520A due? Do I attach it to my tax return? Do I have to file an extension? Form 3520A is due 3 months and 15 days after the end of the tax year for the trust or pension. This usually makes Form 3520A due on March 15th. A month before your tax return is due if you live inside the U.S., and 3 months before your tax return is due if you live overseas. If you file an extension for your tax return, this extension does not carry over to Form 3520A. An extension of time to file Form 3520A may be granted by filing Form 7004, application for an automatic extension of time to file certain business income tax information and other returns. What should I do if I think I might have a Form 3520A issue? The first thing to decide is your risk tolerance. The IRS simply does not have the resources to get to everybody. The IRS must rule by fear and intimidation. They do this by imposing huge fines, threatening criminal charges, and being a generally miserable agency to deal with. Yet some people are okay dealing with the threats. If you're one of those people, I'm not going to try to convince you of anything. If, however, the idea of IRS civil penalties causes you anxiety and the threat of IRS criminal prosecution gives you so much anxiety you've forgotten about all your other anxieties, listen carefully. Form 3520A is hardly the only international form that our clients are missing or have filled out incorrectly. International tax compliance is nothing but a series of clever traps. So my advice would be to get legal advice from a tax law firm that specializes in international taxation and is a leader in offshore disclosures. Taxpayers often make their problems a lot worse. Why? Because they apply logic processes to a tax system that was all designed, promulgated, and ratified in Washington, D.C. Think about it. Do you need a more clear example of our illogical tax code than a failure to mention foreign pensions in Form 3520A instructions? Do you have questions about your foreign pension or Form 3520A? Please leave them in the comments below. Like and share this video if you found it helpful. Subscribe and stay on top of tax reform updates. This is Anthony Parent of Parent & Parent LLP IRS Medic, and I thank you for watching.